Welcome to Day Trace here in the Back to School Showdown. A lot of competition has happened the last 2 days, and we are proud to bring you all the action. Today is going to be one of the best, probably one of the best tag team matchups in history between NASCAR champion Thomas and Percy versus Team South Park with Eric Cartman and the one and only Kenny McCormick. Before Boris gave them a pep talk about these two, and they're going to have to fight really hard to defeat Cartman and Kenny. Thomas gets picked, and Cartman gets picked, so it's Thomas and Cartman to start things off. Oh yeah, he's got to put his belt on the top there so he doesn't get injured. And the fight is on as Cartman is beating Thomas off at the start, puts Thomas to the ground, and throws to Thomas, tries to end it, and he kicks out. Hits him some more. Slams Thomas to the ground. Cartman backs up and slams him against the wall. Thomas goes up to the top and slams down on Cartman. These two fought before, so Thomas has a little bit more experience because he fought Cartman before. Thomas slams down now on Cartman as he sets Cartman up, hits him against the wall. Thomas picks up Cartman and they throw him against the other ring. Now Thomas hits Cartman and stomps on Cartman. He's hitting him. He goes back up to the top and slams him down. Cartman gets back up and throws Thomas up against the wall. Cartman hitting Thomas against the wall. Kenny wants to tag in. He wants to defeat the tank engine, and now Kenny gets tagged in. Kenny McCormick gets tagged in and swarms towards Thomas. Hits Thomas a bunch of times. Thomas not putting up with it. Thomas tries to end it. Fails. And now Percy wants to get in. And Thomas now tags Percy as Percy hitting on Kenny, not giving Kenny a chance. Hits him with the tank engine splash. Throws himself towards Kenny. Puts Kenny up against the wall. He takes Thomas with him. Thomas props himself behind Kenny and he puts Thomas on the position and tries to end it, and Kenny kicks out. Percy puts Kenny against the wall. Rams him a bunch of times. Poor Kenny. And Cartman flies into the frame. Eric Cartman flies into the frame, beats down on Percy. He puts Percy to the top and no one slams him. Percy getting detained. Thomas comes back. Thomas the Tank Engine comes back, puts Cartman up against the wall as well. Thomas hits Kenny. Both of them charge forward and ram into the two. They put Kenny back. They both go against the chop, and the locomotion as they slam down on the ground. Kenny injured. Cartman dives in. Stomps on the two. Thomas getting the bad treatment, trying to take both of them out. Hits Thomas hard. Percy not getting any of the hate. Cartman ends up hitting him a bunch of times. It causes the camera to shake. Cartman, wait, what's happening? Boris! Boris is here. What is Boris doing here? Cartman got distracted by Boris standing there. And Percy! Percy attacks Cartman from behind. Boris with a little bit of distraction for Thomas and Percy to get Cartman. Trying to end it, and Cartman kicks out. Percy now takes Cartman to the top and slams him down with a vicious hit. Percy runs him over all the way to the other side. Cartman runs back over, and now Thomas out of nowhere grabs him. Slams him down. Oh, and Boris out of nowhere. Boris out of nowhere, he tries to end it for himself. Who is it going to be? Team Cartman or Thomas and Percy? Kenny now hitting Percy a bunch of times. Cartman trying to end it, and Boris moves him out the way. Boris moves Kenny out the way. He beats up Boris for himself. Percy now with the opportunity. Will he do it? Will he do it? Yes, he does. Thomas and Percy won the tag team matchup. And Team South Park is still in need of a win in the inaugural TWL season. Unbelievable. And Boris was there to help. A good friend indeed. A spectacular performance by Thomas and Percy, defeating Team South Park. And now we have a live recording backstage after the event. Let's check in on that.
We did it, Percy. We won. Yeah, we did it. Hooray. We did it. We did it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No eating here tonight. Woo, eating here tonight. Thank you, boys. No problem, you two. You're welcome.
Wait, what is Cartman doing here?
Boris, look out.
And oh, Cartman beats Boris hard. Cartman out of nowhere attacks Boris. That could be a suspension. And Boris shows him up.
Now you listen here, Cartman. If you take advantage of me or any other one of my friends, you're gone. You are done out of the TWL. You've ruined everybody's lives, and you're mean to everyone. So I suggest you keep your mouth shut. Understand me?
I won't tell ya if I'm not fighting your friend in the 9/11 tribute. So, you're lucky to not have a match with me. Your little Bendy is gonna get taken down. See you there, punk.
Ignore him, Boris. You got good friends like us. They're just a bunch of meanies.
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys. There's gonna be a lot of conflict between all of us and Team South Park in the next coming of days.
Yeah, Team South Park has just been brutal to these players. These players aren't just been getting a chance by them. And as we have breaking news right now, there is an event going on between SpongeBob SquarePants and Bendy about what SpongeBob says he has it coming. He and Bendy are now in a match together. Bendy shows that he can literally beat anyone, and SpongeBob already at it. SpongeBob SquarePants already at it. He goes to the top rank and slams down on Bendy. SpongeBob with the sponge bash puts Bendy to the ground, hits Bendy a bunch of times, puts him back. Yeah, that little quarrel that Bendy and SpongeBob have, where SpongeBob telling Bendy about the dirty move, he is not happy with that, and now wants to match Bendy. Speaking of Bendy, Bendy is on top of SpongeBob, does the ink corkscrew, and lands on top of him. Bendy trying to end it, and SpongeBob kicks out. Bendy hasn't been beaten by anyone yet. He's beaten SpongeBob multiple times. He's beaten SpongeBob in the tag team matchup, and he's beaten Kenny. We're not counting the Royal Rumbles since that wasn't. He technically got beat there by Chuck E. Cheese, and now puts SpongeBob up against the wall. Bendy's slamming on top of SpongeBob. SpongeBob hitting him down. SpongeBob doesn't care. He gets to a point where his vertebrae gets hurt or injured. He just wants revenge. Bendy goes up to the top and slams down on SpongeBob. Tries to end it, and SpongeBob kicks out. Bendy hits SpongeBob up against the wall. He puts SpongeBob up against the wall. SpongeBob has enough of this, and SpongeBob wins it. SpongeBob SquarePants wins. The revenge has been performed nicely, and SpongeBob defeats Bendy as a sign of he's not going to take things lightly. Good events here tonight. Now tomorrow is going to be the final matchup and the final day of the Back to School Showdown. This is the TWL. We'll see you next time.